Oh my god, this video is an absolute mess. Lord help me. Hi Bookish Besties, my name is Brittany. This is Rescues and Reads. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you are new, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're already subscribed, as always, I appreciate your continued support. Thank you for returning to another video. Today we're here to discuss and potentially dispel some common BookTube myths. Hello everyone and welcome to another Bookmas video. Today this is kind of like a fun chit-chatty style video talking about some common perceptions and misconceptions about the BookTube community. And some of them could potentially be true in some circumstances, but are not necessarily representative of the BookTube community as a whole. For the most part, these are in no particular order, but I did want to start with perhaps my favorite one out of all of these, and that is the perception that booktubers do not read the books that they haul. So I know that I'm treading dangerous waters here. I have the uncommon opinion that book buying and book reading are not separate hobbies, and they should not be treated as separate hobbies. To me, if you are buying books, you should fully intend to read those books, unless of course you are purchasing like a special edition or something, or a book that you have already read and you don't necessarily need to read it again. I'm specifically talking about here people who are buying books that they haven't read and they never end up reading the books that they haul, and then ultimately like end up unhauling them, or they stay on the shelves for a long time. I don't believe that this is a statement that is representative of the entire BookTube community. I have made it a point on my channel to do mindful book buying. I want to be somebody who only purchases books that I'm very, very excited to read, and primarily purchasing books when I'm ready to read them, so they are not sitting on my bookshelves. Well, I know that I prefer to operate that way, and I know that the statement does not apply to the whole BookTube community in general. I will say that I do agree somewhat that it seems to be a popular trend where booktubers are purchasing a copious amount of books and they are not reading those books. They are just sitting there on shelves, and then eventually you will see those books in an unhaul as booktubers are desperately trying to whittle down their physical TBR, or they have realized that they are no longer interested in those books, or they bought those books for a specific reason that is no longer valid. Now, I am completely guilty of some of those things. Back when I had a larger TBR, that was exactly how I used to operate as well, and that is why I made a conscientious effort to really change the way that I bought and read books. So in some ways I do have to agree with this statement, but I really do aim to have my channel be different representation with regard to book buying. And kind of segueing into this next one about how BookTube is all about the hauls. And this is one that I wholeheartedly disagree with. I do believe that book hauls are very popular videos, and I personally myself love to watch a good book haul. So I do believe that they have a space here on BookTube, but I do believe that it's a relatively small portion of BookTube. And in fact, I would say the vast majority of videos that I see posted out of the people that I subscribe to, only a very small number of those videos are hauls. Rather, the videos that I'm watching are people doing thoughtful reviews of the books that they're reading. They're doing vlogs, they're doing wrap-ups, they're doing TBRs, they're doing reading projects, they're doing all kinds of unique and creative things. And book hauls are just part of classic BookTube content, but I don't think that it's a huge part of BookTube content, and I definitely don't think that it's a main part of BookTube content. And I think if that's the only thing that you are seeing popping up in your subscription feed, you are actively consuming that on a regular basis. Like, YouTube is showing that to you because that is what you yourself are currently watching or expressing interest in, or you are not following the right people. And that is actually going to segue into these other two myths, that booktubers only read the same genres, or they are only reading popular / new release books. And so here again, I'm going to say that if that is what you are seeing pop up in your feed, you are not following the right people, or you are not looking hard enough for people who are reading differently than the popular books, than the new release books, or than the more commonly popular genres like fantasy romance. Yes, these popular titles, these popular genres are definitely getting a fair amount of attention, and because they are popular, because they are getting that attention, the YouTube algorithm is going to push that out to a lot of people, right? Because they think that's what people want to see. But just like anything else, just like the TikTok feed, you have to work your best to curate the YouTube feed to your preferences and to your tastes. Now, I really question how YouTube decides to recommend a video to someone, because I get recommendations that are not relevant to me all of the time. I feel like this is a situation where you need to actually research and find the creators that match with your values and your tastes and your reading styles, because if you are only seeing the popular releases, if you are only seeing the popular genres and things like that, once again, it's because you are not looking hard enough for the creators that are actively reading diverse and varied genres and books. But in reality, on BookTube, there is such a wide variety of readers. Now, do I believe that there definitely needs to be an increase in diversity, especially among BookTube creators? I definitely do believe it, but I also know that if you search, you are going to be able to find the BookTube content creators that are actively reading the books that you want to know know about, and will give you the recommendations that you are looking for. Okay, and this next myth is that you have to read a lot in order to be a part of this community. And I can absolutely say that that is 100% not true. And in fact, I'm going to make the argument that quality matters over quantity. Many content creators on here are more focused on thoughtful reviews and discussions rather than on the sheer number of books that they are reading. It's about the passion they have for what they're reading, not necessarily about how much they're reading. Now, it is true that BookTube does feature a lot of people who read very, very quickly, and so they might have dozens of books that they have read in a month. And it is also true that a lot of creators are at least partially reading for content, like maybe they are doing a project and they have to read certain books for this project or things like that. So there are definitely things that will lend to the number of books that you are reading at any given point if you are a BookTube creator, but you do not have to read a specific number of books in order to be a part of this community. We do not care how many books you are reading every single month, as long as you are reading it all and as long as you are giving us your thoughtful opinions on the books that you are reading. But that actually kind of segues into another myth that you have to be an expert in order to be on BookTube. You need to have some type of formal education or literary background in order to be on BookTube and to give your opinions on books. And that is 100% not the case. This platform is for every reader. Even the most casual of readers can be within this space. I would say the vast majority of people here on BookTube do not have a literary or English background, and we are not going to be the most highbrow of literary critics. And sometimes it's all just going to boil down to, I just didn't like this book. And sometimes you might not even be able to articulate why you didn't like that book. And that's okay, because we are all ordinary readers here. No matter how many books you read a month, no matter what your background is, we are all just readers expressing our love of books on this platform. This next myth is that you need a fancy setup and a bunch of beautiful bookshelves in order to be on BookTube. And once again, that's not the case. When I started this channel, I started with nothing more than my smartphone and eventually upgraded everything as I went. But there are still, to this day, many BookTube content creators that only film on their phone, and maybe they only film in front of a window and have natural lighting. These days, the quality of smartphones, even though they might not be up to par with a DSLR camera, they are still pretty high quality and they can still get the job done, especially since you can go into editing software and maybe edit a lot of things, color correct, do a white balance and all of that stuff. It's amazing what you can do in post-production, right? So you absolutely do not need a lot of fancy equipment in order to start. And I've said this before, but if that is what's keeping you from starting a channel, absolutely do not worry about it. In fact, I would say go ahead and start with the equipment that you have and instead focus on potentially improving the quality of your video via post-production editing, rather than trying to focus on maybe getting a very expensive camera or something to that effect. You know what I mean? And the bookshelves, 100% not mandatory. Also, I'm gonna pause really quick and apologize if you see Archibald in my videos or if you hear any chaos. That is because I am home alone filming, and since my husband is not here to kind of keep an eye on the animals, I wanna make sure they have access to me if they need me, so my door is open. It is usually not open when I'm filming. You do not need bookshelves filled with books in order to be on this platform. And as long as you have like a quiet space with good lighting and maybe like a relatively clean background, that is all you need. And Archibald is trying to scratch himself against this tripod, so chances are you are going to see yourself shaking. I am so terribly sorry. Welcome to the chaos. And then the next myth is that BookTube is primarily for young people. And that might have been the case back in the day, but I mentioned this in that video that I did talking about whether or not BookTube is dying. I mentioned that one of the main reasons that BookTube is not dying is because you're seeing an older population gravitate towards BookTube. You're seeing a lot of people who are just now discovering this channel. They might not have ever known this channel existed, but now they are finding a space that they can come on here and talk about books, because I feel like this is a very accessible platform. And so that's why I feel like BookTube is only thriving, not dying, because we are now welcoming in older generations to talk about books. And so nowadays, primarily the population that I'm following are these older creators. I'm not looking for young creators anymore because I don't relate to them. I want to see the older creators who are more reminiscent of where I am in life. So I definitely do not think that BookTube is for young people, especially now. You're messing up my video. I'm trying to film and you're messing up my video and your fur is flying absolutely everywhere. Another myth is that you have to agree with popular opinions in order to be on BookTube. I would say that if that's the case, I would not have a channel because I frequently disagree with popular opinions. Okay, I had to kick him out because his fur was flying everywhere and I have no idea if that's going to translate on camera. So you might see all kinds of hair floating around here and we just cannot have that. I mean, just the other day when I was talking about whether or not I had read the most popular books published within the past 5 years, I was like, why the hell is Twisted Love by Anna Huang on this list? list because it was awful. I also talked about how I really didn't like Demon Copperhead. That is a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. So I am not afraid to speak my opinions on books on this channel, and I don't think a lot of people are afraid to speak their opinions. Viewers out there who disagree with those opinions or they have a problem with your honesty, those are not the right viewers for you. They are not the right subscribers for you, and they can go on and they can find content creators that might agree with their own popular opinions. But just know that you are welcome to share your comments, your criticisms, your feedback about the books that you are reading. You are able to share your concerns about a book, why you loved it, why you hated it. That is what this space is for. So you do not have to have the popular opinions about the books that you are reading. And I just kind of want to emphasize that, because if you are afraid about having opinions on this platform, if anybody takes issues with your opinions, they are not the right viewers for your channel. The right audience will find you. This cat is making it so hard to film right now because I try to lock him out and he just howls at the door and he claws at the door. I'm gonna have to hold him like a baby until I'm done with this video. Another myth is that BookTube is a full-time job and that you essentially have to dedicate all of your time and attention to BookTube in order to be successful. So in some ways, I think that this is true, and in others, I don't think that this is true. I think that you can dedicate as much time to YouTube as you can possibly dedicate if you are willing to take your time with it and do what you can, but do it well. And I think that's what's important to know, is that you don't necessarily have to make a ton of content, but with what content you put out, if you are making sure that it is quality content, you are still going to see the attention and growth to your channel, and you are not going to have any problems. One thing that's really important about BookTube and YouTube in general is just consistency. You know, YouTube likes to know that you are going to upload a certain number of videos every week or one video a week at a certain day and time. It helps the algorithm. It helps push your videos out to more people. It helps keep your channel relevant on the YouTube platform. Do what you can do and do it well and do it consistently. Make sure that if you can only do one video a week, that you are doing the video to the best of your ability. Another myth that for some reason is still quite popular today, and I have no idea why, is that only physical books count. But I feel like if you watch literally any creator on BookTube, you will hear them say that listening to audiobooks is reading. There are plenty of people in this space, like myself. I almost exclusively read by listening to audiobooks, and there are plenty of people that make great use out of their Kindle. There is no elitism here on this platform with regard to the format in which you read. And so you do not need to read exclusively one way in order to be on this platform. And if you did read exclusively one way, that is fine too. You are perfectly valid and you are accepted here. All right, everyone, I had a couple more that I was potentially planning on talking about here, but I need to go get this baby situated somewhere else so that I can continue filming Bookmas videos, because if it keeps going on like this, I'm not going to get any more videos filmed, so I'm going to end it here. But I would love to hear your thoughts on any of the BookTube myths that I talked about in this video, or if there are any other BookTube myths or misconceptions that you are familiar with that you want to discuss, please feel free to leave that in the comment below. Or if you made it to the end of this video and you are not feeling chatty, go ahead and leave me the eye roll emoji in honor of some of the eye rolling myths that we talked about today. And as always, if you like this video or if you just like me, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Throughout the month of December, from the 1st through the 25th, I am attempting to upload one video a day. So if you don't want to miss any more of this chaos or the content to come, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love to connect with you in any of those future videos or on any of my other social media platforms, which you can always find linked down below along with any books featured in the video. Until next time, y'all. Bye. Are you a little baby? So handsome.